Today, we're going to talk about pricing. Pricing is something that I sought after to figure out when I first started my journey as a bookkeeper. I really struggled with this. And the reason I struggled with it was because I had never been on the back end of a business before. I had always worked for someone as a W-2 employee, and I really wanted to nail down and figure out pricing because I knew pricing was going to launch me into being able to leave my 9-to-5 job. So I figured out that pricing packages were the best way to do bookkeeping. And this process really was a journey for me. And so I want to give you a glimpse of that in this training and share with you my knowledge of pricing packages, and also give you a tool that will launch you forward that you can do in your very own office. You can do exactly what I'm going to show you today to figure out your pricing for your business. We need to nail this down with our pricing packages to build a virtual bookkeeping business. So when I talk about pricing packages, just to clarify, that means you may have 5 clients paying you $500 a month to perform bookkeeping services, which would be $2,500 recurring monthly income a month, okay, times 12 months. Or if you had 5 clients paying you $1,000 each, and that's $5,000 a month recurring every month for a full year. That's what I'm talking about with the business model of building a bookkeeping business. This is where bookkeeping businesses become very profitable and we really begin to scale so that we can have financial freedom and time freedom, which I know is something that we are all striving for and really desire. I want you to think about if people ever ask you questions about finances. Do people ask you random things because they know that you have some sort of experience with bookkeeping or with finances? Have you ever been asked, Vicki, do you know, like, what tax amount should I be having withheld from my paycheck every week? Random things, okay? I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me recently that really kind of pivoted myself. Not recently, actually. This happened to me years ago before I started my bookkeeping business. It still happens to me and happened to me last month, but this story I'm going to share with you right now happened to me years ago. I was in the grocery store line and I was behind someone I knew who was a hairdresser in my local town. Well, I didn't go to her. I didn't know her personally, but she saw me behind her and she started talking to me, started chatting. Lo and behold, she started asking me questions about bookkeeping. Can I write this off? Would I be able to do a home office deduction? Would I be able to expense, just random questions? She's like, my mileage from my office where I cut hair to Walmart to pick up the supplies to come back, can I write that off? She started asking me all these questions. She apparently knew that I had my hands in the bookkeeping industry and that I had some accounting background. What that grocery store line question that she asked me did for me as I got back to my car, I was buckling in my children. They were still in car seats at that time. And I was buckling them in and the light bulb moment went off for me. And I thought, I know more than I'm giving myself credit for. What I know is valuable to other people. And this stuff doesn't come natural to everybody. These things that I know that I was able just to spit off the answers to her about, not everybody knows this. And so that got my wheels spinning, which led me to the journey of building my own bookkeeping business. And now I get to teach other women how to build, scale, and launch their bookkeeping businesses too. So the grocery store line, think about it. Do you have people asking you questions? Are people asking you financial things? It took someone asking me a simple question for me to realize this is my magic. This is what I know naturally, but other people don't really understand all these financial things. And so that started me down this journey. I want to ask you a few questions. There's a few questions that we need to be asking ourselves as we are preparing ourselves to really scale and build our bookkeeping businesses. Are you already certified? Are you sitting on a QuickBooks certification that you're not utilizing? Ask yourself why. Let's get it out there. Let's start building our businesses. Do people ask you questions or pick your brain about finances often? Like at Christmas, at Thanksgiving, are people asking you questions? Do you have a hireable skill set that a corporation would hire you for? Would someone hire you to do payroll for them? Would someone hire you to pay their bills for them? Begin to ask yourself these questions. Do you have knowledge that will bless others? Do you have a love to be able to teach people and to show people things? Those are great skills for bookkeepers, for us to be able to teach people. We have our own teachable hearts, and then we can teach other people how to do things. Are you a natural encourager or cheerleader? We're going to be dealing with business owners that sometimes have bad months. We're going to be dealing with business owners who are trying to figure it out themselves too in their own industry. And so we need to really have that encourager spirit. It really helps us as bookkeepers. And you're probably already naturally that way. You just don't realize it. You're a cheerleader for your children, for your spouse, for your people around you. Moms make the great bookkeepers, best bookkeepers. Are you a good communicator? Are you able to look at a set of numbers and reframe it? Can you look at a set of numbers and explain it in a way that your husband would understand, who's not an accountant, or someone in the heating and air industry? These are good questions that we can begin to ask ourselves as we do this journey to build up our encouragement in ourselves that we can do this, that we can do this job. Do you believe that there's more than one way to do things? Just because Vicki teaches you to reconcile one way or to come up with your income and your expenses for your business so you can file your taxes in one way doesn't mean that's the only way to do it. There are multiple ways to do things. Do you believe there's multiple ways to do things? And lastly, do you believe that there's room at the top for everyone? Do you believe there's room for lots of people to have successful businesses? Because as a bookkeeper, you're going to see behind the scenes bookkeeping businesses. You're going to see other people being very successful. You're going to see other bookkeepers being successful and keeping books for other businesses. Are you open to the idea that lots of people can be successful? Hopefully you are, because I'm telling you, that's the truth. That's the reality out in the world. Lots of us are successful. We need to realize that the skill set that we have is very valuable. I started with 0 clients. A lot of you started with 0 clients. We all have to be okay with being a beginner and just getting our feet wet and starting somewhere. We all have to start somewhere. So let's look at pricing. I have, a community on Facebook that has over 7,000 women in there. We're all like-minded. We're all on this journey of building our bookkeeping businesses together. We are strategically seeking a better way to earn income in the accounting industry. We are seeking ways to walk away from a 9-to-5 desk so that we don't have to turn in leave slips for vacations, for a sick child, for a doctor's appointment. We're seeking ways to be able to multiply our income and actually make more per hour than what we're making at our W-2 jobs. That's what we're all seeking. And so I want to dive into pricing. Pricing is something that we need to understand. And so I'm going to share with you a tool that I use in my very own business, and all of my students who are inside my launch program, they use this tool too. And it is called the pricing swipe file. You're probably thinking, Vicki, what is swipe? What does swipe mean? Well, swipe means that we are going to gather information and we're going to swipe it. And we're going to look for patterns in things. This is going to jumpstart your mind to begin to create your 3 tiers for your pricing inside of your bookkeeping business. I encourage you to have 3 tiers. because you have a low, middle, and a top tier for your pricing, and it's not too many options. It helps your clients go, okay, I'm here. Most of them will land in your middle tier actually, but there's a reason behind that. So this swipe exercise that we're going to walk through and do will help you nail down your pricing. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to share my screen. And we are actually going to look for ways to find some other bookkeepers and see what they're doing, what they're pricing their services at, so that we can begin to look for patterns and see how can we do this ourselves. So I'm going to give you a tool right away that you can do yourself because you don't have students. I'm going to pull up a lot of my students' websites so we can look at them, but you may not have students who are bookkeepers. So you probably don't. You're probably a bookkeeper yourself. So what you can do is you can go to Google and search, find a QuickBooks accountant. And you're going to see this link here, find a QuickBooks Pro Advisor. The reason this is so valuable is any of us can search this. And you type in a city that's local near to you. I typed in Atlanta for the eastern part of the US, and it's going to pull up all the QuickBooks Pro Advisor certified accountants in the area. Why this is so valuable is because you can actually click on their profiles and you will see their websites. And what you'll do is you'll click through and try to find about 10 different websites where they have their pricing. Some don't have their pricing listed, some do. But this is an exercise that any of us can do. You may have to click through quite a few to find some with pricing. You may not, it just kind of depends. So build at a flat rate. She says here she's got pricing packages. This is one I found. She doesn't have her pricing posted here, but she's doing pricing packages too, which is cool. Let's see if we can, I don't know that we'll be able to find one quickly here that has all of that posted on their website, but they are there. I have found quite a few actually. But in the live training, I'm not going to take the time to try and find one specifically that has the pricing on it. Oh, this one I think does. Let's look. She's one I've looked at before. Yeah. Okay. So she's got pricing. This is one I found. When I say your pricing packages, look, current state analysis, she says at $350, these are all the things that she'll do. And what you do to create your swipe file, you literally highlight these words, you copy it, paste it over into a Google Doc, and you're going to do this for several websites. And you're going to look for patterns. You're going to look for patterns of how many transactions are they doing at this particular price and what support are they offering at this particular price. And you're going to find 10 different companies, and you're going to decide yourself what pricing packages feel good to you. So this is one I actually had ready to pull up for you. So here she is, and she's got QuickBooks Online set up. She charges $500 for that. These are the things she does. She gives you some support, 2 hours to discuss. This is what I'm talking about. You're going to look for patterns. She does cleanup jobs. She doesn't have that price, which I understand because they can be versatile. Full service accounting, $500 a month is her starting point. And then she probably has 3 tiers that she will show you when you get on the back end of her business. So everyone can go to the Find a QuickBooks Pro Advisor tool and find some that have pricing on there. I'm going to look at a couple of my students here just to give you a feel for what you're going to do. So let's see. This is Tiffany. She has her pricing listed on her website. And these are her 3 tiers. Here they are, $150, $375, $750. Now, they could be in between the $375 and $750 if they're in the tier 2, and that's okay too. But this gives us lots of good information. We need to swipe all of this up to 3 to 4 banks or credit cards, up to 250 transactions for this price. Remember, we're looking for patterns and what support do they give at these prices. Monthly phone or video meeting is for this one. Let's look at another one of my students. This is Simply Blessed by Dawn. And this is one that I want to look at because she is using a strategy that I teach my students, and that is coming up with a minimum amount that you're going to charge for your monthly pricing packages. This helps, especially new bookkeepers who aren't quite sure on their pricing structures yet, stating, like Dawn does here, that pricing packages begin at $225 a month, pre-qualifies anyone who's looking at your website. So she says, okay, I've got 3 tiers here. These are my 3 tiers. I'm not telling you the prices on them, but these are the 3 tiers. And we start at $225. If you can't afford $225 recurring month after month for bookkeeping services, then you probably don't need to reach out to me. That's just a good way without putting specific pricing out there, but still putting a starting point. It pre-qualifies our potential clients, which is really, really cool and valuable. So I would swipe this information, pull it into a Google Doc, and use it to begin to look at patterns. We are going to look at this one too. This is one of my students who has gone through one of my programs, and she has her services listed here too in a 3-tier scenario. $425, $675, and $925. Okay, so you can look here and see what she offers under each tier. Swipe it, pull it into your swipe file. Now, this one I wanted to pull up because this company I found, they're in the Atlanta metro area. And so they're in the middle of a lot of big businesses. And so their pricing structure is what I would say is premium pricing, and it suits the area she's in. Now, when we're virtual bookkeepers, this doesn't mean that we can't charge these prices. It just means that typically what I'm finding is when you're a virtual bookkeeper, you usually price your services to the area that you actually live in, is typically how we end up pricing our services. But I wanted to show you this one because it is a higher premium tier, 3-tier option. So you have it in your back pocket. You can throw this into your swipe file because I want this to be part of your creating your pricing packages. I want you to take these into consideration. What are they doing for the $1,000 a month? Monthly financial statements, monthly reconciliations. Now, they're not giving us specific amounts of transactions here, but that's okay. We can still use this information in our swipe file. So definitely use this too. And then the in-town one is the one that I found through Find a QuickBooks Pro Advisor. And she has several tiers here showing you what she charges for specific things. This website, in-town website, is really good. I would love for y'all to study this one too, because she really shows you some different streams of income that we can have as bookkeepers: the cleanup, the online setup, the analysis, service. This really breaks out what I teach about the 7 different streams of income we can have as a bookkeeper. So it's valuable too. Definitely take a look at this for sure. So the exercise today that I really wanted to focus in on is teaching you how to create a swipe file for your bookkeeping business. This helps us determine what we are willing to not charge and what we really want to charge. One of the most valuable things I have learned in my life is that it's just as important for us to figure out what we don't want to do as it is what we want to do. And this is the same with pricing. It's important for us to realize what we will not charge. Like, okay, so you may have in your head, I will not do bookkeeping for $225 a month. Like, that's just too low. I will only do it for at least $400 a month. And that's okay if that's the stance you come to after doing your research with pricing packages. But it's important for us to know what is out there, what other real live bookkeepers are charging, what they're doing, what they're offering with these packages. And this will jumpstart you to be able to do that.